shameless plug on my book. I'll show it to you a little bit later. Thank you so much for the invitation to have me here today. I have a lot to talk about. I usually speak for about 30 minutes to an hour. I've got 8 minutes today, and I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm a retired ICE, Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent that worked most of my career on the border. Human trafficking investigations is my subject matter expertise. While in my career, I was assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City and went through a tragedy. My partner, Jaime Zapata, and I were ambushed by the Zeta Cartel in 2011, and tragically, Agent Zapata lost his life. I was shot 3 times and survived. And I stand before you by the grace of God to share the story and to continue. What I do now is to open the eyes of the rest of the country to let them know what is going on at the border. Not only do I have the experience of working with this human smuggling, the cartels, the human trafficking, rescuing women and children from sex slave conditions and forced labor conditions, but I also want to be able to communicate the impact that what we see in our borders right now is going to have in our communities throughout the United States. It doesn't stop at the border. It doesn't stop at the border states.
That's right.
It's going to continue, and it's going to have a significant impact on our schools,
yes.
On our healthcare system,
yes.
and our criminal justice system.
Yes.
I was at the border with my team down in the valley about a month ago, and I thought I knew the border. And let me tell you, the crisis is out of control.
Yep.
Not only is it real, it's out of control, it's worse. And so this is what the part that I understand it, and I know why our elected officials will not go down to the border, because they will not have a defense. They will not be able to tell you any way how to defend what's going on at the border right now. It is lawlessness. There's absolutely no enforcement of our immigration law. There's no enforcement of other laws, like child endangerment laws. We have illegal aliens coming into our country, allowed to board airplanes without identification, allowed to board buses without identification, something that you and I can't do. I was actually at the airport, and I talked to the border agent that is on the line looking at the people coming through TSA checks, and I actually got myself out of the line. I said, "What's going on? What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm looking at the people coming through the line." I said, "Well, we all have an ID here. What about all the illegal aliens in the airport? How did they get through? They didn't go through TSA record checks. They came in through the back. If you're illegal in this country, coming here illegally right now, all of a sudden you have more rights than a U.S. citizen."
Yes.
Yes.
This has to change. I'm a very pro-legal immigration person.
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm a product of the American dream. My parents came here legally. My sisters and I were born in Texas, and they worked hard to get us to where we're at. We want to do that for our children. But they did it legally. They did it the right way. Not illegally in what we're seeing down at the border. So I said, you know what? Last week, about a week and a half ago, I know what's going down in the valley. That's kind of ground zero down in McAllen, Mission, Texas. I'm going to go to El Paso. I'm originally born and raised in El Paso. I'm going to go see what's going on over there and compare the different regions. Let me tell you, it's completely different. Night and day. You see the migrants in the valley turning themselves in, the family units coming up to Border Patrol. That does not happen in Hudspeth County, El Paso County, and New Mexico. They are avoiding Border Patrol by all means necessary. I was out there till 1, 2 in the morning, talking to the agents on the line in Hudspeth County. I stood on the Rio Grande River, where there's almost no water in there. Where I even saw in my career, where there's no barrier, there's no wall, SUVs driven full of drugs, full of illegal aliens come through our country. It's still open, guys. It's still open right now.
Yes.
The border is not secure. It is not closed like they continue to claim.
Yes.
We must open the eyes of the rest of our country and let them know the realities that's going on the border. We have individuals that are being smuggled and trafficked on a daily basis into our country, besides the ones that are being allowed to come in detected. Two different groups. Not all are coming from Mexico and Central America. Those are the big numbers. They're coming from Yemen, Bangladesh, Somalia, special interest countries, which ICE calls them special interest aliens. I interviewed these individuals 10 years ago in Mexico. They are in Mexico. These are individuals that we don't know what their intentions are when they come into our country. You heard about the two Yemenis that were captured about a month ago in March, two separate occasions. CBP did a great job of putting that out. They usually would not actually report that. And they got it out in a press release, and you notice the Biden administration made them take it down because they don't want people to know that these individuals are coming through Mexico to gain access to our country. They are in Mexico. They know that if they're in Mexico, they're as good as being here.
Yes.
In New York, in Washington. The criminal element that is coming in through our borders. And I want to make this clear. Yes, we know that a lot of people that are illegals are coming in, are migrants. They're coming from broken countries. They're supposed to be asylum seekers, right? We have asylum laws, asylum criteria. The asylum law has not changed. It's exactly the same. You have to be persecuted by your government because of your religion, your political organization, your political views. That's not the case. The asylum criteria doesn't say because you come from a country that's corrupt, because you come from a country that is poor, because it doesn't have any opportunities, it doesn't have any jobs. We're not being selfish here. It's time for us to be able to protect our own sovereignty, just like Mexico, right, our neighbor does. They're the first ones to shove their sovereignty into our face. And I'll give you a quick example. About a year ago, Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, arrested the highest level, government level ever in the history of Mexico. He was the ex-minister of the Interior, of Defense, I'm sorry. He was a general. DEA did a great job, a one-year investigation in Mexico, and arrested him in LAX. He's retired, but he's a Sinaloa cartel member. He has been the whole time. They arrested him in LAX, brought him to New York on corruption charges, drug trafficking charges, money laundering charges. Mexico had a fit. They got our Attorney General back then, Bill Barr, to release them. Dropped all the charges and released them back to Mexico because Mexico claimed that we violated their sovereignty. What about our sovereignty?
Yes.
What about ours? We're losing our sovereignty a foot a day. There's no one out there protecting our homeland. We have our agents that have had their immunity taken away from Mexico. Just like I was assigned to Mexico City, the DEA agents, the FBI agents that are assigned in Mexico right now have absolutely no immunity protection. When I got shot, I had a certain level of immunity protection. And they still wanted to keep me there because Mexican law is very different than US law. They had to get me out in the middle of the night with a DEA plane. Special Agent Jaime Zapata did not have the same level of protection because he wasn't a diplomat. He was there on official business at a lower tier, and so they didn't want to give him the same respect. They didn't want to release his body to the United States. These are the realities that we face in a country that's not 6,000 miles away, but right here, our neighbors.
Yes.
And they don't see eye to eye as we see it. Another thing I want to mention is the cartels. And I go into detail about this in my book. The cartels are present in our country in every city. They have taken over the human smuggling. They have taken over the human trafficking. They are now sending the illegal aliens with 200 pounds of meth. You know what they do to the illegal aliens, the females on the other side. We know how they're exploiting them. You saw the case just in Houston the other day with 92 plus bodies in the stash house. They're starting to hold them for ransom again. We saw these cases in the early 2000s where they pay their fee, and then when they get in the stash house, ready to get distributed among the U.S., the cartel says, "Nah, we want $5,000 or more from each one of you," and they hold them against their will. This is happening again because the cartels are making millions and millions. So I urge you to please, you want to support and you want to read the whole story. I go into detail about the ambush in Mexico. The second part about this book that I call the manifesto is about the border. And I talk about solutions to the border, not just repeating the problem that we have, but I offer real world solutions. How do we deal with the cartels? How do we deal with this illegal immigration? My time is up. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Give it up for Tony Avila. Victor, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. God bless this guy. What an amazing man.